What's the best Pokemon? What's the worst Pokemon? If you ask anyone, they'll give you a different answer because there's 1,025 of those bloody things now. And honestly, I don't think there should be. I think there should be 10,000, 100,000. Who's your favorite when there's a million of them? Although I guess it wouldn't be really that hard to pick a favorite because, I mean, you've probably got a favorite person and there's what, like 7, 8 billion of those? At some point, you just kind of channel out the rest of them. Anyway, let's see what Wolfie thinks.
1,000 Pokemon.
That's a lot.
Every single one of them is somebody's favorite. But somebody...
Is it though? Is Blipbug someone's favorite? When someone thinks of their number one of all 1,000, they think, yes, it's Blipbug. I don't feel like that's true. I know there's gonna be someone in the comments like, ooh, I love Blipbug so much. I've got all the cards, I've got all the plushies. I solo the games with Blipbug, and I'm sorry. I don't believe you.
Is wrong. Because with over 1,000 Pokemon, one of them has to be worse than every other one.
That's
and
true.
I'm going to find it. At first, I thought this task would be simple. After all, there are some Pokemon clearly designed to be bad, the most famous one being Magikarp. It's useless competitively, it's not...
No, he's cool though. And have you seen some of those cards that he has? He has some sick Pokemon cards. So I've been getting more into Pokemon cards recently. I apologize. Maybe I'll start opening packs. Maybe my gambling issue will be much worse if I can make content out of it.
Very good in a playthrough, and the design, although iconic, is rather basic. It's just a
cool,
really
though.
floppy fish. So I was...
And we love him. I like Magikarp.
just about ready to pack myself on the back after a hard day of being a YouTuber. But then I realized...
It is hard. God, you gotta wake up. You gotta sit down. The commute to work is ages. I have to like come through the little hallway into the room. And then you have to sit and react to other people's videos. Can I just say, I am very appreciative of anyone that allows me to react to videos. I think it's really, really sick of them. Obviously, please subscribe to the original creators. Please support the original creators. I'm not going to react to every single video from someone, so please go and interact with their channel. Give them watch time, because that's what they would love, I would imagine. And to give a little shout out to the person that edited the video, Iconoclast edited the video, Wind Up Hirogo made the thumbnail. I never want to just take away from someone, although I realize how fortunate I am to be able to literally just watch people's videos as videos. I understand what a fortunate position I am in, but please, I always want to support the people that make this stuff because they put way more effort in than I do. Believe me, they put so much more effort in than I do.
Magikarp evolves into Gyarados. Now, I know that most of you probably already knew that, but think about it in this context. Magikarp is the only Pokemon that can evolve into Gyarados. That's something unique and distinct to the orange fish. So how could I possibly name Magikarp as the worst Pokemon of all time when it's the only Pokemon capable of turning into one of the most iconic monsters in the entire franchise?
That's true. And I mean, you could just catch Gyarados, I suppose. In certain areas of the game, you could just catch Gyarados.
And the more that I thought about it, the more I realized that a lot of the Pokemon who are clear standouts to be the worst Pokemon ever
evolve into really good ones.
Evolve into something better.
Exactly.
Spidops, for example, is basically Magikarp with a reskin. But Milotic is such a great Pokemon that there's no way that its pre-evolution could be the worst Pokemon of all time.
It could be a good run-in for the uglies, though. I mean, I know that's the whole point of it, but God, it is. Those sunken eyes. Oh man, they freak me out.
This is gonna be a lot harder than I expected. So
maybe it'll be like single stage Pokemon that really has no use whatsoever. Maybe it's mining. Maybe it's it's not Patterrz because it's a world champion, as we all know.
Talk about what factors I'm gonna.
I really hope it's not Maractus because I really like Maractus a lot.
Considering here. First, how good a Pokemon is competitively. I am a competitive player, and I think being able to use a Pokemon and have it actually
Wolfie won Worlds?
To be good is enough of a reason to keep it off my list.
There's the Patterrz.
I'll only be considering the official competitive format for competitive play, so if a Pokemon was good in a fan format like Zoodle used, they aren't safe from me.
No, I love Zoodle used though. God, I play it every day.
Also be considering how good a Pokemon is during a casual playthrough of a game. And this probably goes without saying, but this is not factoring in any ROM hacks. I'll be factoring in...
I can't believe anyone would go into the comments and be like, well, Wolfie, you failed to consider I made this ROM hack in my spare time about 5 minutes ago, and I gave Tangela 1 billion HP, so like, you should have put it as the worst. That doesn't make any sense. How memorable and recognizable a Pokemon is. So everything from Generation 1 is safe, because let's be honest, they're all iconic. Even Mr. Mime. I will also be giving points to Pokemon that do something unique, even if that unique thing kind of sucks. Like Minior is not a good Pokemon, but I think the different colored cores thing is neat enough that it keeps it safe from this list. I just think about Starbits every time. Oh my God, wait, this little character? This character is from a picture sheet on an app that I use to learn Japanese. So I use this app to learn Japanese, and it's got the kanji in it, and it uses it in a sentence. And when you hit the button, it shows you like a picture. And I'll be damned if that is not the exact same art style. Oh wait, the exact sorry. That's the same art style. That's it. I swear. Like, look at that. Look at that, and then look at my little guys, and then look at that, and then look at my little guys. It's the same. I swear it's the same one. I don't know why I do this. I don't know why I get distracted by stuff like this. But anyway, Renshu is a party or a collection. So get your Renshu together, and let's continue to video omimasu. Watch the video.
For now. And on that note, I will also be judging these Pokemon based on how they look. This is the most subjective part of the process, and I'll give it less weight than the other categories, but ultimately, a Pokemon's design is pretty important, and to not consider it under the guise of this being some kind of objective list, in my opinion, would be misleading. This list is subjective based on...
Make sure to subscribe so that Wolfie can buy a mic stand that doesn't fall and cover his face with wires every time he adjusts this. I hate it so much.
My taste.
That's tough.
Taste just happened.
It must make it really hard on the editor.
To be exquisite.
Sorry, I just realized my big dumb face covered the text that it said there.
My tastes just happen to be exquisite. For example, Sudowoodo will not be appearing on this list because I think it's really funny. I spent a ton of time poring over the Pokedex, searching for the worst Pokemon of all time. And in the end, I narrowed it down to 10 contenders. Let's talk about these 10.
10's a lot.
Starting with the Pokemon that I've deemed least offensive among them, Ledian.
Oh God, I hate Ledian, man. I'm sorry. I know it's because Ledian is an anagram of Daniel, and Daniel's my name, but also it just sucks. I love Lediba. Lediba is fantastic, but Ledian's stats make me want to throw up and burst into flames.
Ledian is just awful. It's a bug and flying type Pokemon introduced in Generation 2, and competitive.
Guess what? He learned no bug moves in Generation 2, or probably Generation 3.
Competitively speaking, it's one of the worst fully evolved Pokemon ever. Bug and flying is not very good typing, but some Pokemon can make it work with good abilities or good moves. Butterfree, for example, has been good a couple of times during competitive play because it gets moves like Sleep Powder, which can be quite scary. Ledian gets truly nothing.
It gets nothing. It gets what? Comet Punch? Oh, I'm going to use Comet Punch for my base 15 attack. That's going to be really good, isn't it?
Supporting moves that bug Pokemon learn.
So I'm going to get heated in this one. I think we're all going to feel emotional after this one. We're going to get so heated.
Were given to Ledian. Now, this could have been okay if Ledian had...
Oh, hold on. Let's see. There's more text here. I have been informed that I have to mask it with the wire like that on his face. Please subscribe, because this hurts me to my core. Please subscribe to Wolfie.
Good stats. Can we show Ledian's stats, please?
Oh, sorry. Base 35 attack. Wow. You know what? It's faster than I thought it would be, though.
That's actually even worse than I remembered.
That's
less HP than Hoot, less attack than Chinchou, less defense than Apom, and less special attack than Elekid. What were they thinking?
Good special defense,
Sometimes Pokemon with bad stats can still be saved if they have a great ability, like Ditto or Shedinja.
And you best believe Ledian gets Swarm.
It has 3 abilities to choose from. Swarm, which powers up only its bug-type moves, and only when it's about to be knocked out. It's more or less useless. Ledian's already...
Because it doesn't even learn 8 bug-type moves in like the first 2 generations that it was in, and then afterwards, what does it learn? What does Ledian even learn?
So frail that it's difficult to get it to low enough HP that Swarm's going to activate, at least without it getting knocked out. Also, powering up bug-type moves is not especially impressive, given it's easier to find a resistance to bug than it is to find an ice cream store in a beach town. Ledian's second ability, Early Bird, lets it sleep for less time if it gets put to sleep. Now,
wow, brilliance. At that point, just don't have it on the team.
You're probably thinking, wait, aren't there multiple abilities that just prevent sleep altogether? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, there are.
Oh my God, there's so many. Wow, Sweet Veil is better than I thought it was. Okay, wait, Sweet Veil's kind of
good. This ability sucks. There's also no need to put Ledian to sleep when you can just knock it out. And then there's Iron Fist.
Oh, finally! Ledian looks like a boxing ladybug. It's an interesting concept. It's got strong punches. So what was its attack again? Oh, 35? Brilliant.
This is a good ability when it's being used by the right Pokemon. Iron Fist powers up all punching moves by 20%, which on a strong fighting type Pokemon like Conkeldurr can be really valuable, but nearly all punching moves are physical. What was Ledian's attack stat again? Right.
Wow.
So Ledian is actually doomed competitively. But that's not the only thing I'm considering here. How good is Ledian during a playthrough? Extremely bad. So that just leaves the more subjective stuff. Design, cultural impact, etc.
I mean, its design is pretty cool, I will say. Cultural impact, none. I don't think most people know what Ledian is.
Personally like Ledian's design, but I don't think that it's especially memorable. If it had been introduced in Generation 5, I think Gen 1ers would have been flaming it online. And I also am going to say that I don't think it's had a huge impact on either the Pokemon franchise or the general public. Really, the only reason it's even somewhat memorable is because it was
there it is again! It's another one of those characters.
Introduced so early on in the franchise's lifespan. Now, the one good thing that I can say about Ledian is that the other Pokemon on this list are worse.
Skiploom, Hoppip,
including the number.
No, because it evolves into Jumpluff, and Jumpluff's not bad. Wait, Carnivine? No.
Number 9, worst Pokemon of all time.
What?
Carnivine.
Why do I like Carnivine?
I have personal beef with Carnivine because I remember playing Diamond and Pearl as a kid and being so excited to use a Carnivine when I caught one, only to realize that this thing is turbo garbage.
Well, I mean, Turbo is, that's a bit, that's a lot.
Carnivine is a pure grass type Pokemon with the ability Levitate. Levitate makes you immune to all ground type moves. Carnivine, as a grass type, already resisted ground type moves.
Well, I mean, it's still nice to have an immunity, though, isn't it?
Carnivine does not get any other abilities.
It's still nice to have an immunity.
Carnivine stats are better than Ledian's.
Oh, well, look at that. We got 100 attack. Oh, it's a mixed attacker. That's unfortunate. If you put some of its special attack into speed, like 50 of its special attack into speed instead, that'd be respectable.
But that's going to be true of literally every other Pokemon on this list, and it does not mean the stats are good. A Pokemon's stats can be roughly understood in 3 ways. Can this Pokemon hit hard? Can this Pokemon take attacks without fainting? And is this Pokemon fast? For Carnivine, the answer to all 3 is no. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I mean, it can use Power Whip pretty effectively, shouldn't
Other than the speed stat, none of the other stats are explicitly terrible. But they all
you could use this in a playthrough. I bet you could.
Aren't good. In order for a Pokemon to be useful, it has to be able to do at least one thing kind of well. And
use Power Whip. Add him in Power Whip. That's going to be doing a lot.
Carnivine, unfortunately, cannot. To me, it feels like Carnivine was designed with the intention of giving it an evolution. At least that's how I feel when I look at its stats and its ability.
Yeah, Carnivine evolution would go hard,
but that
actually.
feeling isn't based in anything, apparently, because Carnivine does not evolve. This is all you're going to get. And my question to that is, why? Carnivine has received absolutely no love from the franchise. No Gigantamax form, no Mega Evolution, no signature Z move. In fact, Carnivine wasn't even put into either Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet. I guess
really? Oh man, I didn't realize that Carnivine has been gone this entire time. How many Pokemon have been gone from Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet? There can't be that many because there's 400 in the base games and then the DLCs add like 100, 200 more. So there really can't be that many that aren't in either games. Surely. It can't be just Carnivine, right? Can anyone do the research on that and figure it out? Because I'd love to know.
They realized that there was really no point in including it, which frankly, I agree with.
And there's no Zubat in Scarlet and Violet, which makes me sad.
I really feel like one day Carnivine's going to be given something, and my personal bet is on an evolution.
I hope so.
Until then, it's on my list.
That would be sick.
You should subscribe to this YouTube channel on youtube.com/WolfieVGC, baby.
But Wolfie, I already did. But did you? Did you, Sub Noodle? Did you already subscribe to Wolfie VGC?
もちろん私たちはバカではありません。
You freaking better of. There's 5 of yous. I swear to God. The watch time they get off 5 sub noodles is about 5 times as much as the average person because there's 5 of them.
In all honesty, subscribing helps the channel out a lot, and it actually doesn't hurt you all at all. Like, there's no cost to doing it. So if you don't mind, that'd be cool. And
I mean, I could hit that like button. I already hit the like button. Never mind. I could join your YouTube channel. There you go, Wolfie. I have now joined your YouTube channel.
There can even be a benefit, which is that if you subscribe, you're more likely to be served my videos in the future. And
wait, that breakfast looks incredible. Oh, I'd be so ready for the day after that.
And obviously, we all know that sometimes YouTube's algorithm is a little weird. You might not like get naturally pushed every video. So if you like this content, if you think it's cool, if you want to learn more about competitive Pokemon, or you want to see more of this guy,
genuinely, I do love learning about VGC and competitive Pokemon.
You should subscribe, please. I'm begging. I guess I'm not begging yet. I guess I'm begging. I'm asking. I'm not begging. You know what I mean. Our number 8 slot is a Pokemon that you might.
Chat, I think he's
might not
begging.
expect from me given my name, but I hate it. It's Lycanroc, but specific.
I was gonna say Lycanroc. No, I swear. I know it popped up, and I said it after it popped up, but I swear I was gonna say it. I was thinking it. I just didn't say it. My mouth moved too slowly.
Lycanroc Midnight. For any unaware Dundozos, the Pokemon Rockruff evolves into a Lycanroc with a different form.
I really like the dusk form.
Depending on what time
the midnight form is just the worst,
it evolves. If it's daytime, it becomes Lycanroc Midday. If it's nighttime, it becomes Lycanroc Midnight. And if it's between 7 and 8 p.m. specifically, and it's a special Rockruff with the own tempo ability, which Rockruff normally can't have, then it will become Lycanroc Dusk.
Well, that's incredibly rare, isn't it?
Sure, why not? Anyway, while the other two Lycanroc have cool designs and are actually
just don't ask a Pokemon player what it takes to evolve Galarian Yamask.
pretty good, Lycanroc Midnight sucks, both competitively and in its design. It's a pure rock-type Pokemon. Look at this thing and tell me that it doesn't look like it should be a dark-type too. Well, it's not. Now, to be clear, Rock and Dark is not a good type combination. Yes, I know Tyranitar is good, but the typing isn't really the reason for its strength. The thing is, another type means more moves a Pokemon
No, its strength is the reason for its strength.
can learn. And given how bad Lycanroc Midnight is, it really needs all the help it can get. It's funny too, because both the other Lycanroc forms have been good at some point. Lycanroc Dusk got a special Z move that could do tons of damage,
And it looks cool. Like, that's a sick design.
Lycanroc Midday was good during Scarlet and Violet because of its ability Sand Rush, doubling its speed stat in the sand. Lycanroc Midnight, however, gets nothing.
Also, Lycanroc's a good boy. We need to consider that. Lycanroc Midnight is not a good boy. Lycanroc Midnight is a very, very bad boy. Lycanroc Midday is a very, very good boy.
It's got 3 abilities. Keen Eye, which prevents your accuracy from being lowered. Worthless. Vital Spirit, which prevents it from falling asleep. Useful on a tanky Pokemon, which Lycanroc is not. And No Guard. No Guard is a really interesting ability that causes all moves used by and targeting the user to never miss. But Lycanroc has no way to make use of this ability. It's mostly useful in a Pokemon that can learn powerful moves that are inaccurate. For example,
I guess it's really only useful for Stone Edge, isn't it?
With Dynamic Punch. Lycanroc doesn't get any of these powerful, inaccurate moves beyond like Stone Edge, which players run even without No Guard. I actually recently built a team where I needed a Pokemon with No Guard in order to pull off the strategy. And the only 2 options that were available in Scarlet and Violet were Lycanroc Midnight and Go Lurk.
And let me tell you, he didn't go with the Lycanroc Midnight.
I chose Go Lurk.
Because Galuk is sick.
If Lycanroc Midnight were as fast as the other 2 Lycanrocs, it might have still been okay. But it's got this really awkward stat spread that, among other issues, is way...
It's just not fast enough to be able to outspeed most things. It doesn't do enough damage to be able to one-shot a lot of things. It doesn't have enough bulk to be able to survive most hits.
Too slow. Basically,
it's got a bad typing.
For some reason, they took 30 points out of the speed stat of Lycanroc Midday and put 10 of them in each of Lycanroc Midnight's 3 defensive stats. But these stats weren't good enough to begin with, that this actually makes it feel that much tankier, especially given that Rock isn't a very good defensive type. In other words, Game Freak basically just took Lycanroc Midday and found a way to make it worse in almost every way possible. During a playthrough, Lycanroc Midnight is always going to be worse than Lycanroc Midday because...
And just look at the design difference. I mean, come on now. Lycanroc Midday is a very good wolf. We love that wolf.
This is just so much slower. Oh yeah, that reminds me.
I'm sorry, I can't look at Lycanroc Midnight without imagining a fursuit. It looks like someone's furry OC, which there's nothing wrong with having a Pokemon that looks like a furry OC. But there's just something that feels off about it, that feels like this is the kind of thing that I should see on Twitter or maybe like a Reddit post and not in the actual game.
Lycanroc Dusk and Lycanroc Midday get a signature move called Excel Rock, which is a rock type move that always moves first. And
wait, does Midnight not get that?
That is the only rock type move with a stage of increased priority. Okay, technically Wide Guard is the only rock, you know what I mean?
Why is Wide Guard a rock type move?
Wide Guard's technically a rock type move, but it's a support move. It's not like an actual rock type move. Okay, don't be smart in the comments.
Oh, wait, no, sorry, I'm not gonna let that one go.
Well, Wolfie, I gotta say, I'm surprised you missed this. It's actually pretty clear that Wide Guard is also a +1 priority rock type move, not just a Cell Rock. I mean, it's almost elementary at this point. Sure, a Cell Rock is the obvious one, but if you look closely, Wide Guard functions in a very similar way. Not only does it have +1 priority, but considering how it shifts the momentum in battle, it technically aligns with the core mechanics of the rock type moves, which often aim to disrupt and change the flow of the game. It's literally right in front of you. I'm surprised this one flew under your radar. I guess that's just the nature of complex mechanics. Smug face emoji.
I'm so sorry I read that to you.
For some reason, Lycanroc Midnight is the only form that can't learn its own signature move. And
that's really embarrassing.
then there's the design.
Which it would be really helpful for a Pokemon with 115 attack and lower speed to have a signature priority move. That would be wow, that would be really good. Wow, Lycanroc Midnight. I bet you wish you had one of those. I bet you've been wanting one of those for a while.
I think a werewolf-themed Pokemon could have been so cool. But to me, subjectively, this design just doesn't do it. It feels like what you would get if you asked an edgy teenager to design what they thought a cool werewolf Pokemon would look like. And while it is definitely good enough to go on the fridge if your kid draws it, it's not good enough for me. We'll talk about the number 7 Pokemon in a second, but first, I have a problem. I am not very good at giving gifts. Like, you see how bad these Pokemon are at being Pokemon? That's about as bad as I am at giving gifts, which is a problem because, you know, holiday season is pretty much here and buying gifts is a really good way to show appreciation for loved ones. But
that's
sometimes it's really hard. However, I found a solution. Holzkern. Holzkern is a watch and jewelry brand from Austria.
We love Holzkern, folks. Yes, we
cool
do.
And fancy because I've never been there. They make products for all genders, which is awesome and also makes them really super versatile as gifts. They're also made from natural materials.
Honestly, I have bought so many Holzkern gifts.
Which I think is neat and also makes each product unique in its own special way. Nothing says you're special like a one-of-a-kind watch.
And
right,
you are special. Look at that. God, glorious.
Watch because he knows it was made in a small batch, making it high quality and meaning it'll be able to endure lots of switching in and out with
and
parting
they are
shot. Holzkern are super fast.
Wait, it's not switching in and out with parting shot.
Too, unlike this guy. They ship worldwide and your product will normally arrive between 2 and 5 business days. And all orders placed by December 19th will arrive by December 25th. If that date has any special meaning to you for whatever reason. I've been giving Holzkern watches and jewelry to my loved ones for the holidays for a couple years now, and I gotta say they are always a hit. These are some of the gifts I got from my loved ones this winter. If you have somebody you think would appreciate some,
I did the same thing. I bought a bunch of Holzkern stuff for my family and loved ones
these
too.
Really special products. Check out the link in the description and use code Wolfie for 15% off at checkout. Thanks
use code Wolfie for 15% off.
Sponsoring this video. Back to you, Hater Wolf. Speaking of Pokemon that aren't good enough for me, the 7th worst Pokemon in the entire franchise is Watchog.
Oh, true. Yes. Oh, God, this guy sucks.
Watchog.
I mean, he is a gym leader mon, so I guess that gives him something, but not much.
Watchog.
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 I'm confusing myself. Quick question about Watchog. Why is it standing like that? Fix your posture, dude. Come on.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's a slouch.
as is the case with literally
Guess he's not a Sigma male.
every other Pokemon I'm mentioning in this video, this thing sucks. It's a pure normal type Pokemon introduced in Generation 5 that, like Carnivine, hasn't been in a new Pokemon generation since they could start leaving Pokemon out. So
Really? Oh my God, no one liked this guy.
what makes it bad enough to be one of the 10 worst Pokemon of all time? The abilities are a good place to start. Illuminate is one of the few abilities that does absolutely nothing in competitive play.
And it makes it more likely to encounter a mon. Why would you want more likely? I mean, there's only very specific circumstances where you'd want that, right?
Only role is to make the player encounter more wild Pokemon. Now, I don't know about you, but for me personally, when I'm playing through a Pokemon game, most of the time, I feel like I'm not having any issues encountering Pokemon. Minus points for Watchog. It also gets
Yeah, it is really a useless ability, isn't
Keen Eye.
It's got to have some use, surely.
Worthless. The last ability is Analytic, which does nothing unless Watchog is moving last. But Watchog's second highest stat is its speed. Okay, speaking of its stats.
Yeah, what did they do this for? Oh my God, that's disgusting stat distribution. God, what is this?
They suck. The bulk is
Why does it have 60 special attack? It doesn't need that.
the offense is bad, and the speed is just okay. Without a useful ability to help it, Watchog is more or less doomed. The best thing that I can say about Watchog is that it's somewhat useful early on in a playthrough, since you encounter it early and it evolves at level 20. That being said, in order to get one, most of the time, you're gonna have to catch and evolve a Patterrz, one of the ugliest Pokemon in Generation 5. I don't think that
True. I mean, Watchog is also one of the ugliest Pokemon in Generation 5. I mean, just the ugliest Pokemon in general.
Is good enough to justify Patterrz in any context.
That's
to make matters worse, Watchog is just so forgettable. It's the early game rodent of Generation 5, a generation already not generally praised for its Pokemon designs. There's a new early game rat every single Pokemon generation, and while Rattata is iconic, Sentret and Furret are super cute, and even Greedent is pretty funny.
I mean, Greedent's
Watchog just doesn't stand out in any way.
Oh God, the slouch! I can really notice the slouch now. You can
its
really
only
see.
memorable trait is its terrible posture, which brings us to
Which is funny because in that other art, his posture was
number
fine.
6 worst Pokemon, Mothim. I'm gonna start by saying
that's sad. I mean, Mothim has a really, really good shiny.
something nice about Mothim. I really like the shiny form.
See? Okay, you know what? I feel vindicated
I am now done saying nice things about Mothim.
Well, it gets
Mothim is one of
dance,
4
right?
different
Doesn't it get sticky webs too?
Pokemon that Burmy can evolve into. The way that it works is that all female Burmies evolve into Wormadam. And Wormadam is a really cool Pokemon. It has 3 different forms depending on the cloak that it's wearing, and each different form not only has different typing and moves that they can learn, but they also each have different stats. Now, none of the Wormadam are very good, but that's
Wait, I did not know they had different stats. That is I am learning this today type
fine because the concept itself is really cool. Now imagine you're a kid and you learn about Wormadam from your friend, and your friend only knows how to get the grass and the ground ones but doesn't know how to get the steel one. So you both search and eventually you find a pink Burmy. You train it up and you're so excited, and then it evolves into Mothim.
Well, then you kind of like, oh, like that's kind of cool. Like I got
There's
a different
only
one
one
instead.
form of Mothim, and every single male Burmy turns into it no matter what form it originally was. This means it's even harder to shiny hunt for both Wormadam and Mothim, since the gender determines what the Burmy turns into. And the real slap in the face here is that Mothim is just terrible. It is really bad
Oh, well, why does it have 94 attack? What? What is it using its physical attack for? Just put like 50 of that attack into speed and now we're cooking.
Competitively speaking, yes, but that's true of Wormadam too. But Mothim also isn't cool. It's like a booby prize for trying to get Wormadam. It just looks like a generic bug type.
Does anyone want Wormadam? I just don't
There's
see
nothing
it.
exciting about it at all. And it's bad. Bad stats, bad typing, and a bad move pool. Butterfree, who is extremely similar in design to Mothim and shares its typing, gets valuable supporting moves, Sleep Powder and Rage Powder. Mothim learns neither.
I wonder if they made that background just for this video, that cracked Pokeball background to indicate like bad Pokemon. I don't know. It might just be like stock footage, but I wonder if they made it for the video.
In theory, a Pokemon that can evolve into 2 different species depending on its gender is a really interesting mechanic. But in practice, having one of those evolutions be really unique and interesting and the other be just a generic bug does not work. Okay, we're into the top 5 now. And
I will say I've never liked
the
Burmy.
Pokemon still remaining on this list are a whole nother level.
Honestly, the Burmy could have been number 1 on this.
Buckle in. Number 5, Obstagoon.
What? Oh, Obstagoon is sick though. Like it's a Kiss reference. It's got a cool design. He makes me a little uncomfortable with his tongue, but like I get it. It's part of the reference. And he's got this whole part of the game just for him. And he's got special moves. I mean, his typing's not great, but
some Kiss fan is
kind
going
of
to be really, really mad. Here's a question that I have about Obstagoon. Why? So, for anyone unaware,
yeah, you know, to make Lanoon a little bit better.
In Sword
right?
and Shield, they added Galarian Zigzagoon and Galarian Linoon, a new take on the classic Pokemon. These normal and dark type Pokemon were effectively just a reskin of the classic Hoenn versions. They have the same abilities and stats as their Hoenn counterparts, but only Galarian Linoon can evolve into the monstrosity that is Obstagoon.
I think he's cool.
Here's my main issue. Linoon is such a classic Pokemon. It's not especially strong, sure, but it's an iconic early game rodent and a core part of many 3rd gen playthroughs. It's also probably the Pokemon most players use to be their HM user for the majority
Oh, it was so cute in that
of
game.
Generation 3 games, since it even learns Surf. And so, if you told me before Sword and Shield that Linoon was getting an evolution, I would have been hyped. But Obstagoon doesn't make me feel excited. It just makes me feel kind of angry. The design is certainly polarizing. I can see how if you're a big fan of
I mean, Guts could
Kiss
work
or
really
Gene
well.
Simmons, it's super exciting. But personally, I don't really have very strong feelings about either. And so I find Obstagoon to be a little unsettling. More
Yeah, the tongue does get me. Like that is, it's a bit weird.
importantly, I don't feel like they preserve the spirit of Linoon in the evolution. Linoon is this sleek, nimble little 4-legged badger snake, and Obstagoon is this hulking, looming 2-legged monstrosity with
That's what happens when he gets too big.
arms. Other than the neck being shaped similarly, Obstagoon doesn't even especially resemble Linoon.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, a lot of Pokemon are
What
evolving
about
like that,
competitive
right?
play though? Well, Obstagoon does have the
Oh, wow. It's not. Yeah, these stats are not good. Like, look at it. Yeah, I mean, 90 attack is not great. I mean, you can boost it with Guts, but it's not.
best.
You can boost it with Guts and you have Facade, so maybe you can do like some decent damage. It's not particularly super fast either.
Stats of any Pokemon on my list today. It's got respectable bulk and a usable speed and attack stat, though I wouldn't say that either are exceptional. And it has 3 abilities that are usable, 2 of which are very good. It also gets a signature move called Obstruct, which is a fancy version of Protect, that lowers any attacker's defense stat who hits the shield with a contact move. But none of this made Obstagoon good or even remotely usable. Obstagoon doesn't
Oh yeah, like in competitive, just no, straight up no.
have any one glaring issue. It just doesn't do anything well enough that it makes players want to use it. It wasn't a very good Dynamax attacker. It needs its ability to get to a point where it's doing respectable damage. And the typing of normal and dark gives it weaknesses to common types like fairy and fighting.
You get slapped up by a Mach Punch is what you can get.
It isn't a terrible Pokemon, and it is certainly better than anything else on our list today, but it also just isn't good. And this, combined with the design and how they massacred my boy, is enough for me to justify its placing. Our number 4 slot goes to our first Pokemon who is not fully evolved. Trumbeak.
I've said a while ago no one likes Trumbeak, and people are like, no, I love Trumbeak. It's like, there's no way. People do not love Trumbeak. Vinny said he likes Trumbeak. I don't believe that Vinny likes Trumbeak.
How many of you knew what this thing was called?
Was it Vinny? I hope it was Vinny. Or else we're just putting Vinny under the bus for no reason.
Before I said something. My guess is less than half. Trumbeak is Generation 7's Pidgey. It's the middle form of Toucanon and the evolved form of Pikipek. Now, you're probably wondering why I selected Trumbeak and not Toucanon.
Can't wait for the comments to be like,
Well, I guess that would make it the equivalent of Pidgeotto, wouldn't it?
Right? Don't worry, I'll tell you. Toucanon has always been, competitively speaking, completely irrelevant. However, I think
has a kind of cool design-wise,
it's actually pretty fun.
That's what I'm saying, Wolfie. That's what I'm saying.
That gets a signature move.
He gets Beak Blast?
Called Beak Blast. Now, is Beak Blast any good? Not at all.
Wait, is she holding that Trumbeak like an RPG?
But is it funny? I think so. Toucanon is competitively bad enough to deserve to be on this list, but the design keeps it safe. However, this protection does not apply to Trumbeak. While Toucanon is cool and a new type of bird-inspired Pokemon,
I like the colors on Toucanon.
And Pikipek is cute. Trumbeak is just...
I totally forgot that Pikipek evolved into it, though.
Awkward. I guess it's based on a woodpecker, which is fine, but out of all the remarkable, fantastical creatures Pokemon has to offer, this one just doesn't stand out to me. Not to mention, Trumbeak is introduced in Alola, the most tropical region we've had thus far. Now, there were a ton of woodpeckers near where I grew up in Virginia, and while Hawaii does technically have a...
Oh, that's a beautiful place. God, look at that. I want to visit one day. I really
single
do.
native woodpecker called...
I also want to go back to Japan.
The northern flicker. I would guess that it's a bird not typically associated with the state. So the design is pretty weak in my opinion, which normally wouldn't be an issue because it's a middle stage evolution. So you know that there's something more to come. But
yeah, I mean, you're not using Trumbeak for a substantial amount of time, although Trumbeak probably isn't very good when it comes to using it in a playthrough.
While Toucanon is a fun Pokemon to look at, it's not a very fun Pokemon to play the game with, in casual playthroughs or competitively. Competitively, Toucanon just doesn't have enough going.
Wow, it is slow. Oh my days. Why is everything in Alola so bloody slow? Is it because they like to chill out and max and relax in Alola so much? Is that why? Is it because they like to use code Patterrz at Gamer Subs to get money off delicious beverages and wonderful cups and drinks and get free samples? I don't know if that's why, but maybe it is.
For it to justify any use. It's slow and its bulk isn't terrific, despite being actually pretty strong. The speed being this slow makes it difficult to use in a casual run of the games too.
They're so cute. What is he smoking, like a piece of twig? What is he smoking? Why is that turtle got this little twig on his mouth? He's got a cigarette.
Especially because Toucanon is weak to a lot of the common types. Toucanon's going to feel especially slow to players not as familiar with the game's mechanics, as its signature move Beak Blast has negative priority, causing it to move after nearly every other move, even when Toucanon is the faster Pokemon. The game doesn't specify this in any way, so unless you're really keyed into online resources, you might never realize during a playthrough. So while evolving Trumbeak does make it look better, it turns it into a Pokemon that's both bad competitively and in a casual playthrough. Oh, and by the way, Trumbeak actually loses a whopping 15 speed points when it evolves. So even if you
That's insane.
do know how Beak Blast works, you're still going to be moving second a lot more often than you were before. But not evolving Trumbeak means you're using a worse Pokemon that's also not as fun to look at. No matter what you're doing, if you're using this evolution line,
yeah, this evolution line is just kind of sad. I mean, I really like the design of Trumbeak too.
It's a bad deal. Now,
it is a really cool design. It's just such a bad
Before we talk about the top 3, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. Normally on my list videos, the honorable mentions are Pokemon that just barely didn't make it on. But for this video, it's going to be a little different. These honorable mentions are Pokemon you might expect to be on here, but I thought had some redeeming quality that kept them safe. We've already
oh my god,
talked about Magikarp, Feebas, and Mr. Mime, but I think some other Pokemon people
it's a Jolteon. No, it's not Jolteon.
Might have expected are Pokemon whose abilities actively hurt them, like Slaking and Archeops. These Pokemon, in my opinion, are memorable because their abilities are so bad.
I mean, you can still use a slacking pretty well,
sure
though.
I'm not the only person who has, at some point, tried to build a team around turning off or removing their abilities. Because if they had better abilities, they would actually be good.
Huge power slacking. Listen, we've done that in many Then We Fight videos before. This is a little scary.
They have some allure, and slaking in particular has had a little usage over the years in competitive play, though nothing major. Another big contender is the elemental monkeys from
I did not see this
Generation
animation.
5. Semi-Seer, Semi-Poor, and Semi-Sage. These are some of the easiest Pokemon to hate. They're generic, they're not very good, and
they're
from a generation that already gets a lot of hate. The thing is, the monkeys are actually useful during a playthrough since they're designed to give you a Pokemon to help with the first gym, which has a type matchup advantage against your starter Pokemon, and that's a good enough reason for me to keep them off the list.
And it was pretty smart of them to do that. It's unfortunate the monkeys are just so bad.
Another obvious Gen 5 Pokemon is Vanillix, who gets a lot of hate. But I think
I like Vanillix. I think Vanillix is totally fine. It reminds me more of snowy mountains or glaciers.
Concept of
although it does have the straw thing at the top. I mean, that's definitely ice cream, but like it looks like a snowy mountain.
Ice cream cone Pokemon is pretty funny, and Vanillix has seen a little bit of competitive play.
Hey, okay, all right, 2020, big year for Vanillix enjoyers. We'd love to see it.
Safe. Roxas is one of the ugliest Pokemon of all time.
Oh god, yeah, Christ almighty, look at this thing. Gee, what were they thinking? They should not have let this leave the lab.
Maybe the single ugliest one, but frankly, that's remarkable enough that it stays off the list.
Look at it! It's ugly, isn't it?
There's Cloth, who is really bad competitively, but
Cloth's funny though, and Cloth has a funny thing to do in the game. There's like a big Cloth, and
I think it's
I
actually
like
a really
Cloth.
funny Pokemon.
Yeah, right? I think he's funny
Plus,
too.
it's kind of memorable as it's the first Titan Pokemon most players will encounter in Scarlet and Violet. Lastly, the Pokemon that most of you probably expected me to put on here, given that I'm the one making the video, is
Wait, no, it won't be Incineroar. I mean, he doesn't like Incineroar, but Incineroar's really good.
one of my least favorite Pokemon of all time, Incineroar.
Oh, okay, never mind. I guess I'll just... Stupid idiot. Dumb.
But Incineroar is the single best Pokemon competitively speaking, a starter Pokemon, a Pokemon in Ash's team, and a Pokemon in Smash. It was never going to make it onto this list.
And he's got a cool design.
So now we're down to just 3 Pokemon left. 3 really, really bad Pokemon.
God, what could it be? Floettes? No, the Florges is really good.
Let's start with the third worst Pokemon of all time, Spidops.
Spidops is sticky webs. Literally, you can make Spidops usable just by using entry hazards. And sticky webs, spikes, toxic spikes. Though, to be fair, that isn't really very useful in VGC. So it's competitively useless in a doubles format where you only bring 4 Pokemon. True. It's useful in like other ways though. Oh, in a playthrough? No shot, brother. Not in a playthrough.
Spidops is the newest Pokemon on our list with an introduction in Generation 9. It's the early game bug Pokemon of Scarlet and Violet and the evolved form of Tarantula. I also like its shiny form. It reminds me of yogurt with fruit. The thing about Spidops is that from a design perspective, I think it kind of works. It's this weird bipedal spider guy, but
it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like how he has like he has a phallus like towards the bottom of his body.
He also has this like superhero mask effect over his eyes. So although it's a little funky, it does look kind of cool. However, if you try to use Spidops, you will quickly become disillusioned. This Pokemon is hot garbage.
I mean, the head is cool, but nothing else
It's almost
is.
inarguably the worst new Pokemon they added in Scarlet and Violet.
Yep.
The biggest issue are its stats. What? Where's the good stats? Even Ledian has a stat above base 100. The moves are terrible too. And this brings me to my second point. Why is Spidops not a bug and fighting type Pokemon? Look at the way it stands.
That could have worked.
Tell me this guy doesn't want to brawl. And actually, looking through the moves that it does learn, there are way more fighting moves in here than you'd expect for an early game bug type. Counter, circle throw, low kick, brick break, reversal, upper hand. Why does it learn this many fighting moves if it's not a
He doesn't even have hands. Bro's not got fingers.
fighting type Pokemon? Now, to be fair, even if Spidops were part fighting, it wouldn't save it from mediocrity. It doesn't change the issue with its stats, but it would at least make it a little bit scarier because at present, it's not really doing much in that department. Also, Spidops' abilities are mid. Insomnia prevents it from falling asleep, which is fine but not amazing, and Stakeout doubles its damage, but only if the opponent switched out this turn. But
And what is it doing with that? Seriously, it's not going to do any damage with that. You don't even use damage and moves with this Spidops.
why would an opponent switch out in front of Spidops when it can't do anything even if they decide to stay in? I thought about putting Tarantula here over Spidops, but I think it's kind of cute, and the way that it comes down from the trees in Scarlet and Violet makes a good impression as
It reminds me of Grandma's ball of yarn.
you're just starting your adventure, which matters because it's one of the first Pokemon you can encounter. Plus, Tarantula evolves extremely early, which then means you get stuck with the ugly Spidops very
Which means that Tarantula basically doesn't exist.
Early, and for me, that's points against Spidops.
Oh, that's not true, because that would mean that Caterpie doesn't exist, and I love Caterpie.
Should have evolved later, so we had to spend less time with you. 2 Pokemon left. 2 terrible, terrible Pokemon.
Metapod. Is it Metapod and Kakuna? Oh, it'd be really funny if it was Metapod and Kakuna. Though they technically do evolve. Oh, you know what? Dude, one of them is totally Kakuna. It evolves into Beedrill. Beedrill's useless. I mean, it got a Mega Evolution, but the Mega Evolution can't be used anymore. I mean, it's fine. Maybe the Mega Evolution will stay Beedrill. Maybe it won't be on the list.
The number 2 worst Kakuna, Pokemon of all time is another unevolved Pokemon. Ready?
Kakuna.
Without cheating, can you
Damn it!
tell me the name of this Pokemon?
It's Tranquill!
If you can't, you have to subscribe. That's the rule.
Oh, but I already subscribed and I already joined joined the channel. I already liked the video. What more can I do, Wolfie?
Ready?
Yeah?
It's called Tranquill. This is ironic because this Pokemon doesn't make me feel tranquil. It makes me feel very angry. Tranquill is the middle form of Unfezant, a Pokemon that I hate, and it's just yet another generic bird Pokemon. This one doesn't even look that
Unfezant really does nothing. It's terrible.
different from Pidgeotto. I chose Tranquill for this list because Pidove is based on a pigeon and it's also cute. Tranquill is supposed to be based on a turtle dove, but personally, I think they messed it up. Look at this official artwork of it. Why does it look like that?
True. I was just thinking, like, there's something wrong with this, and I can't quite point out what it is. I think it's the neck. The neck is really throwing me off here. It seems like it's way too long.
Like that. Like with Trumbeak, the design is less important for the middle form, but unlike Toucanon, Unfezant is not a reward for evolving. It's just another generic looking bird Pokemon.
And it's terrible. I mean, Unfezant male is kind of sick looking. Unfezant female is just the worst.
The sandwich between 2 regional birds who really excel. Staraptor, who is also a normal and flying type, but is so iconic, and Talonflame, a fire and flying type who is also especially memorable. Unfezant, by contrast, is kind of just there. And it's also not a very good Pokemon. The stats are mediocre at best.
Oh, it has 115 attack. I didn't even realize that it did that.
And the move pool is extremely limited. This Pokemon learns almost no useful moves. And to make matters worse, both Unfezant and Tranquill are sexist. They both get the ability Rivalry, which causes their moves to do more damage to opposing Pokemon that match their gender and less to opposing Pokemon of the opposite gender. The good news is that there's no effect.
They're sexist.
The opponent is genderless, so at least that's not an issue. This ability is not very good. It's been used once or twice before, but overall is considered a gimmick at best. Unfezant also gets Super Luck, which lets it critical hit more, but it doesn't really.
I mean, that's kind of a fun gimmick because you can do Scope Lens, like Air Slash or Air Cutter, Super Luck, and get like a ton of crits.
The stats to do anything with this ability.
Oh, you can't use Air Cutter because it has like 55 special attacks. So
the only memorable thing about Unfezant is that it has a different appearance depending on its gender. That being said, in my opinion, the female version is just a straight downgrade. With
straight up.
Losing the colorful plumage on its head. Plumage? Someone's gonna cook me for that. Plumage. Comparing this to exciting form changes like Florges, Vivillon, or Furfrou just makes it seem so much weaker by comparison. But Tranquill doesn't even have this. Both male and female Tranquill look exactly the same. Another reason why I selected it over Unfezant. Catching a Pokemon in a new game is exciting because you often don't know what it's going to evolve into. Unfortunately for players evolving Tranquill, they may wish that they never found out. A Pokemon that can still evolve further is kind of like a promise for more, even if the Pokemon itself isn't very exciting.
Unfezant's design? I don't mind this one. It's the female one that I don't like.
Maybe the evolution will be. And when that promise turns out to be empty, it feels really bad. But Tranquill is not the single worst Pokemon of all time.
Oh yeah, Kakuna. It has to be Kakuna.
There's no point dragging this out. I know what you came here to see. I even know that some of you just skipped to this point in the video. Go watch the rest of it.
No! Let's see. Wait. Let's check the... Oh, there's no like highest clicked area of the video where it tells you what people skipped to. So maybe people didn't for this one.
Make this part feel way more satisfying. Okay, are they gone? You all ready? The worst Pokemon of all time.
Kakuna. It's Kakuna.
Barbaracle. This is a real Pokemon. I did not make it up as a joke.
Well, I don't like Barbaracle. That's true.
For this video. This water and rock type introduced in Generation 6. Well, I actually can't say anything nice about it. It is so bad. To start, not only is water and rock
So, okay, there's something that I don't like about the design of this Pokemon. So, in theory, all of the branching parts, all the binacles that are coming out of the rock, in theory, they all have eyes and they're all conscious, which means the shoulder ones have eyes and are conscious, the arms have eyes and are conscious, but it also means that the feet have eyes and are conscious, which means that they constantly have to stare into the ground and get sand in their eyes forever as long as they live. And just for that reason, I don't like this. Also, I have that phobia of holes, because I saw a video of botflies once, and please don't Google it. It's disgusting. It gave me a phobia. And I hate holes now and things coming out of holes. It freaks me out. So just looking at this mon makes me uncomfortable.
Bad typing, but it's also not especially unique. There are 11 Pokemon with this type combination, which is funny because it's not even very good. Both types are weak to grass, and it's also weak to a bunch of other common types as well. It's not just the typing though. I mean, it's actually everything. The moves, the stats, the abilities, they're all bad.
Can it Shell Smash?
Does learn the move Shell Smash, which is a good move in a vacuum, but it's both not strong enough and not fast enough to make good enough use of it. Barbaracle is the evolved form of Binacle, a very weird Pokemon.
So
a
ugly.
huge part of its design is its body, which is effectively just a rock. And then it has these two angry heads with cute
It's not a boulder. It's a rock.
cheeks for some reason. I don't like it. Binacle doesn't even evolve until almost level 40. And your reward
What? Okay, that's ridiculous.
for putting all that work in is Barbaracle? Thanks.
Yeah, I would be
So it's not a
disappointed.
good Pokemon competitively, and its pre-evolution is weird. What about Barbaracle's design? Well, I don't like
It's
it.
awful.
First, the shiny is bad, which if everything
That's disgusting as well.
else about a Pokemon is gonna suck, please at least give it a good shiny.
He reminds me of Tomura Shigaraki because he has hands everywhere.
But I have way more issues with it. Why is its head a hand? Why does it have 4 eyes? And more
Because he's Tomura Shigaraki.
importantly, why are the eyes on its shoulder hands so much bigger than the eyes on its face hand? Why is it wearing a crop top? Why
does it have eyes in its hands?
is it wearing a diaper? Personally, I think the Pokemon knows how badly they missed with this one, which is why they haven't put it in either Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I'm not
And to that I
surprised.
say, good call. Please do not put this Pokemon in future Pokemon games either.
I'm so shocked that Kakuna got a pass on this. Although it does make sense. He said at the start of the video that Generation 1 Pokemon are basically safe because they are so iconic. So I don't know why I was guessing that. I totally forgot about that part and now I'm remembering it. So yeah, I guess if Generation 1 Pokemon weren't safe, I mean, people really remember Kakuna? Really? Does anyone like Kakuna? I mean, now I'm thinking maybe because it's kind of a cool design. So... And Mega Beedrill is really good, so I don't know what I'm talking
Pokemon
about, I
games
guess.
will be here before we know it, and that means new Pokemon are coming soon too. But it's hard for me to imagine them making a Pokemon worse than Barbaracle, unless Junichi Masuda himself has a very, very bad day.
Wait, that would be sick, though. I don't know what it is, but that would be sick. Anyway, thank you so much, Wolfie. What a great video. Fantastic. Now we know what the worst Pokemon of all time is. I hope there's no Carnivine fans out there feeling very sad. It's me. I'm a Carnivine fan. I'm feeling very sad. I'm just glad Maractus was not on this list because I really like Maractus. Anyway, thank you so much. Please subscribe to Wolfie and subscribe here, too. Subscribe here, please. Thank you. Thank you, please.